Okay, I'm at this third section, lying for truth, and you could probably see this coming, that O'Brien has told us both covertly and overtly that lying is going to be crucial to telling a true war story, that you're going to have to essentially play with language, play with ideas and words in order for us to get the picture of what's going on. And it's true that war is a dangerous thing to lie about. But at the same time, on page 34, O'Brien says, I remember Mitchell Saunders smiling as he told me that story. Most of it he made up, I'm sure. But even so, it gave me a quick truth goose, because it's all relative. Right? So on page 34. So the character isn't upset about the fact that Mitchell Saunders is lying to him, partly, because it's goosing him. It's giving him a whoops, he's getting he got a little thing from it. He got a little charge from it where he's like, yep, that had some truth in it. And there's sort of this electric quality to a narrative where you're hearing something and then you really get it, just briefly. Because you're not going to get it the whole time. We're just not that good at listening to people. When we hear a story, a great deal of it may be simply wallpaper to us. It's sort of background for our thoughts, which are wander in and out, and we may focus on the person in part, and then we start thinking about other things, and we're trying to stay there and listen and so on, but maybe they're not such a good storyteller, and maybe we're tired, and who knows. So they sort of the ideas sort of drift past us. But a truth goose gets you. It's like, whoops, oh yeah, that was real. And it gives you this rapid, unexpected squeeze. And you got to pay attention to that. And the hair goes up on the back of your neck, and you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, that was okay. I really got that. On page 78, O'Brien says, you can't tell where you are or why you're there. And the only certainty is overwhelming ambiguity. In war, you lose your sense of the definite, hence your sense of truth itself, and therefore it's safe to say in a true war story, nothing is ever absolutely true. Right? Page 78. So you can see this paradox sort of coming home to roost, where the division between truth and not truth begins to get blurred to the point where we really can't separate a lot of it, and most of what's happening goes on in there somewhere. So you can't tell where you are or why you're there, right? And so what can you get? Overwhelming ambiguity. It's like, so what you can be certain of is uncertainty. It's like, okay. So these paradoxes are our way of crashing our concept, trying to crash our concept of objectivity, and remind us that we are always behind the curve, essentially, on this. That we will never, we will always be trying to get around the curve and see, the whole picture, but it's not going to happen. And the best thing to do is then to accept that position and begin to deal with it, get other tools, rather than say, I insist on having the truth. It's like, okay, you can insist on it, but how much are you gonna as they used to say, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? Choose happy all the time. People will say, well, if I'm right, I will be happy. It's like, not necessarily. Okay, our standards in storytelling then makes the real story shift over. It's going to keep on moving. And O'Brien is pushing further on pages 79 to 80. He says, absolute occurrence is irrelevant. A thing may happen and be a total lie. Another thing may not happen and be truer than the truth. Okay. Now, as I say, this is 79 to 80. As I've said before, in this particular moment, with a massive part of the United States in denial about a great deal of reality, scientific reality about climate change, scientific reality about potentially fatal virus, sort of basic, what you would think would be basic agreements that we have about how to live in civil society, that you observe the law for the good of the whole, and that's our job as citizens. No. So does that mean that everybody gets to have their own truth? No. It means that getting to the truth, what there is of it, is going to be tough, but it means the struggle is worth it. Okay, so I know that these sound like these sort of, paradoxes for the fun of paradoxes' sake, sort of these puzzling kinds of prophecies that the Greeks used to enjoy. If something never happened, how can it be truer than the truth? You can ask. Okay, so have a look at this next little clip, which is from another famous documentary filmmaker. At the moment, probably the most famous documentary filmmaker in the United States, or in the United States and in North America, let's put it that way, Errol Morris. So here's a clip from his film, The Thin Blue Line. Have a look at this.